in terms of the head-to-head, since it was mentioned, why don't we bring that up one time? Harsha, you want to talk us through this?
Well, I mean, the numbers tell the story. I've never been a fan of head-to-head in the IPL, simply because squads change so rapidly. I mean, every 3 years you could have a completely different side coming. So I don't know if there are wounds going into the match. Some of the Kolkata players will have those wounds going into the match because we discussed last year and the year before that. I'm not big on head-to-head, simply because so much changes. I mean, this year, last year, for example, Kolkata was all over the place. They had injury issues, they had captaincy issues. This year, they're far more settled, they're more solid. It's a completely different Kolkata side this year than last year. So while those wounds are there, and I'm not trying to placate Joy and make him feel a lot better, but I'm not a big fan of head-to-head numbers.
Yeah, it is the cliche.
This is probably the only one that tells a story over the years, because I mean, even if you break it down, when were Kolkata's glory years? 12 to 15, 11, 12 to 15 thereabouts, the Gambhir era, if you want to call it that. They were par with Mumbai in those days. So I'm not expecting any difference now. Also, I wonder if it's a good toss. I mean, what are they doing? They're fielding first.
Yes, Kolkata, just to remind all of you, have in fact won the toss and they've asked Mumbai to bat. But just a quick reaction, Joy, on that, because sometimes we say, look, it's a new day, it's a new place, it's a new tournament. But there are times you just look at the opposition and say, even if someone doesn't throw those numbers in your face, it's just something between that matchup, is it?
I really don't think so. I tend to agree with Harsha. There's so much new blood right now out there that they really don't care. And I don't think Eoin Morgan cares very much for these numbers. Brendan McCullum wouldn't care for these numbers. They haven't really faced it. Even if you remember, you know why this legend has been set up is actually because of the first match that KKR played against Mumbai in Mumbai. If you remember, that was the match which was a complete blowout where Shoaib Akhtar played, and I think KKR was out for 68. They were shot out for 68 total. A lot of KKR supporters were there in black, and that was a scarring experience for the owners. But I think even Brendan McCullum was on a flight and back in New Zealand by that time. He was far away and gone. None of this team has any knowledge of that or was a part of that team at all. So I don't think they're carrying it as much as the owners might be carrying it. But hey, the owners are not going to be in the dressing room. The team is going to be, and they're anxious. In fact, I think the advantage is with Kolkata, because if they lose this, they're 1-1. But if Kolkata is looking at this and saying, you know what, if we get across and beat the defending champions in our second game, then this tournament we're going to look very dangerous. If we lose, it's not that much. We are still 1-1. But if we win, hey, it's a big one. They'll play much more freely.
Yeah. I've not played at that level, but if I was, I would actually welcome someone putting that in the change room. In my sphere of life, if someone put that in front of me, I would say, right, that's what I want. You think I can't? And that would actually spur me on. Which is also why I've not really understood the home-away thing. I would think if I'm going away and people expect me to lose, I'll say, right, I'll show you. Because away, I enjoy going and playing away far more than playing home. So I'm not putting too much store on that. Let's see what happens. I actually believe that in this year's tournament, as in last year's tournament, there wasn't a favourite going into a game till about halfway through when some teams started to drift away. Otherwise, I don't think there's a favourite starting.